Okay, so the Manlor's update, one of the biggest changes is fishing. So we're going to go over all the upgrades, fishing and spoiling of food and everything. So the first one is fishing. Now I really like this is because you have a fish deposit which you can overfish. It's very, very important that you note that you can actually overfish this area. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that fish now with food and food have different spoil type, and you can see, look here. You can see here, fish now spoilage, which is very, very high. So ideally you want to upgrade your granary to the highest level. That way the fish spoilage, as you can see, turns to medium. Now, what happens in the winter? You can really only fish, I believe, in spring. But what they've done is they've added a new, as you can see, we go to development, you can see there's a new one here called winter fishing. And this is that workers cut holes in the ice of a fishing pond and use bait hooks to catch fish beneath the frozen surface. Allows for all year round fishing. So you can actually unlock this water fishing. So let's say, for example, in the winter, for example, you can have someone that can fish. Now, this is one of the best things about this area is that you basically have infinite supply of fish or very large supply of fish. It's out of 145. Now, the only downside is it's in certain areas. It's not always going to be in all the areas. You can see, for example, in fact, in this entire map, the only one that they have over here is actually this section here. So that's one thing to mention. Next thing they did is they introduced a new trading section. So you can see here a list of all the trades that you've made between your region, and you can see overall trade balance, etc., etc. So if you find that you're not trading enough of one value, and you can see it by date as well, and you can see here, for example, I'm selling 10 iron ore, and you can see the amount as well. And what they do have is they do have a new level 2 burgish plot, and that is a butcher shop. Now this butcher shop is actually very, very interesting because you can see, for example, like here under the butcher shop, you can produce sausages. Now sausages, you do need 1 salt, and you also do need 1 meat, and you do get 2 sausages from that. And to do that, all you got to do is if you go to like a building, for example, like here, you got to upgrade it to level 2. So you got to get to level 2. Then once it's level 2, you can then choose a specialty. And in that case, I then chose the butcher. They've also got a boyer shop. And what they've done is now you can do warbows like usual. And you can also create crossbows. So that is actually a very, very nice feature. Now, in terms of the salt, where do you get the salt from? So you can see on this one, I'm actually buying salt because unfortunately, if I go over here to trade, stable, if I go over here to trade, you can see you have the food, you have the sausages, you can buy and sell that, and you also got the fish. But you can see salt. I don't actually have any salt now. Where you actually get salt from is salt deposits. And salt deposits are quite rare to find. They're not in every location, as you can see. But they're sometimes, you can see stone deposit has changed what it looks like. So you may have to import your salt. Most of the time you won't find salt, or you could do near actual fish. And you can see, for example, like here, we have this usual stone deposits, and they've also changed the clay as well. The key benefit of the sausages as well, and why this butcher shop is actually very, very effective, is that butcher shops, they actually take surplus livestock and convert them into meat. So if you have a surplus of livestock, you can literally convert this into meat as well. So that is one of the key benefits. Then, of course, you have the spoilage of food. So this is the only thing that I don't really like too much. You can see we've got a granary and different kind of food. So if I just put everyone in a forager hut for a second, you could see, for example, like here, you can see the benefit of with berries is that their spoilage is medium. So I think, generally speaking, when you convert this into the granary, it's going to move some people here for a second so I can show you. If you can see in the granary over here, when a granary is leveled up to level 3, what the key benefits are if the granary is level 3 is that, as you can see, it then turns the spoilage to low. So upgrading a granary to level 3 is very, very important. So the only thing is that it shows as being low. I would like it if it could show the actual number, or at least a percentage, but according to what they said, they're going to add percentage values if they deem it to be viable. They like the immersive feeling of not knowing when the food is going to spoil, etc., etc. So that is the main things. You got fishing. One thing I do like is they've got production values. So let's say, for example, you got the salt pit over here. If you go to advanced, you have timber, so you can say how much reserve. So you can say I always want a reserve of 10 timber. That's like how it was before. But now you can also do a production limit. So let's say, for example, you're creating bows and you need exactly 50 planks, but no more that is needed. You could then create a separate reserve, as you can see here, the production limit of 50 planks. And for example, like here, let's say you want to prioritize, let's say, I don't know, you're creating crossbows. And let's say, for example, you want to limit the plank reserves of 20. You can also create that as well if you want to specialize your units and what you want to fix. And that is basically it. There is a few things that you can do. So as I mentioned, you can create a militia, you can create a crossbow militia. And you can see, for example, like here, we've got a crossbow militia. So let's say is there like a bandit camp? There is. I'm just going to show you an example. Going to make them all run. And then you can then now run to the bandit camp. I'm just going to show you. Well, that's not the bandit camp. Where was the bandit camp? Is there a bandit camp anywhere near us? There is not. I thought there was. But yes, this actually militia is actually very good. In fact, what I would say with this, there's no bandit camp, so I can't unfortunately show you. But yeah, this is the crossbow militia. They're they're decent. I'm not really using them that much, but this is what they look like. And they have a nice reloading animation as well. Unfortunately, there's no one here to battle. Otherwise, I would have shown you. But yeah, that is basically most of the update. I don't think there's anything really else. So the main thing is you have fishing, which I've now explained over here, has been introduced. They've changed some logos and some design. You can see like here, you can filter by imports, exports. They've added no real new policy, really. There's nothing new here. Everything is still locked here. It's just the winter fishing, which is actually, if you've got an area where you can fish like myself, I would definitely recommend, if you have a fishing area like so, I'll definitely recommend to actually have that installed. Now, for the salt deposits, look, the best thing you can do, I've done this a few times, you just go here. And what you could do is if you don't have the salt, which I believe should be under food if I'm not mistaken. Import salt. What you could do is, let's say for example you don't have salt, you could import it, but it's probably not worth getting unless you do have better deals. But that is pretty much the update. I hope you enjoyed it. So you got prioritization. You've now added rich salts deposits. Foods now spoil. You now have a butcher. You have a trade overview, and that is basically it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and that is the update.